friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheraton Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. So last weekend we had a farm tour out here where folks come out and we tour the farm and let kids look at the animals and take pictures and all that kind of stuff. And one of the folks that was here is an aspiring farmer who's looking to get started. And one of the questions that they asked me was, if you had it to do over again, would you buy the tractor first or the side-by-side first? And I thought that's a pretty interesting question. So he and I discussed it a little bit, talked about the pros and cons of both, and I thought maybe I'd share that with y'all. So stick around with us for a little bit. Let's talk about a tractor versus a side-by-side, the advantages and the disadvantages of each one, and which one I think you should pick on your farm. Hang around with us for a little bit. So let's start out by talking about a tractor. And I would venture a guess to say that probably 92 to 95% of farms in the United States has at least one, and in most cases, multiple tractors. And on our farm, the tractor was actually the first thing that we bought. So this is not going to be a review of tractors. It's not going to be a review of a specific model of tractor or side-by-side. There are lots of other videos out there on those, and we may eventually do some of those. But let's just talk about some of the pros and cons of each one of the machines. And before we get started, first off, give me a thumbs up on the video. Go down in the comments below and let me know which one you would buy first, or which one you bought first on your farm or homestead. Did you buy a tractor or a side-by-side, or was it something different? Maybe a skid steer or an excavator, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, a tractor is really a Swiss Army knife. There are so many things that you can do with a tractor, particularly a tractor that's got a front end loader on it. So let's start at the front and kind of work our way back and talk about some of the advantages. Front end loaders are fantastic because with the advent of the skid steer quick attach, which is what this has, we can change out attachments on the front of this tractor super quick. I mean, it takes no time at all unless you're hooking up hydraulics, and that adds maybe 45 seconds. So right now on the front of this tractor, we've got a set of pallet forks. I probably use the pallet forks more than I do anything. They're super versatile. You can put equipment, pieces of chicken processing equipment or whatever on a pallet, and then just move that stuff around really, really easy. We've also got a bucket that we can put on here that we use to move material, dirt, gravel, wood chips. Whenever we're doing our composting operation, we'll pour the leftovers from our chicken processing, we'll pour that in the bucket. We'll go add that to our wood chips. So the bucket is versatile. We've also got a grapple, root grapple that goes on the front of this thing, and that is awesome whenever we're moving, saw logs, or we're pulling up brush, or we're moving, treetops where we've cut a tree down. We're pulling out weeds. We're pulling up, old pieces of fence or something. I've used the grapple to pull up old pieces of fence. So super versatile on the front. The tractor itself has a lot of advantages in that it is a really good towing machine. So if we need to move our livestock trailer, or we need to move our chicken tractor, or we need to move just our regular utility trailer, the tractor works fantastic for pulling those items around. It's it's nice and heavy in the front. It's four-wheel drive. So there's a lot of advantages to that. Back on the back side, in addition to towing, this tractor has a 3-point hitch and a PTO, a power takeoff on the back. So there are implements that we can add to the back of the tractor. Right now I've got a flail mower on here. We use that to mow and keep the property looking nice, keep some of the heavy grass kind of beat down. Done a couple of videos on our mowing and some of the challenges that we've had with that. But we can add a bush hog. We could add a tiller on the back. We can even add a log splitter or wood splitter on the back. So the tractor overall has a lot of advantages in terms of usefulness. It is, again, just a Swiss Army knife that you can do a lot of different things with just because of the attachments that you can add to both the front and the rear. Another advantage, particularly of this tractor, and it may not be true in all cases, but of this tractor, it's a diesel. So we buy non-taxed off-road diesel, so we save a little bit of money on the operation of the tractor. Let's talk about some of the pitfalls or some of the disadvantages of the tractor. Number one, whenever it's wet, muddy, the ground's really soft, this tractor is pretty heavy, and it does leave a lot of ruts in the ground. So whenever particularly in the wintertime, we have to be really, really careful about having the tractor out on the pastures, out on the fields, because it's really easy to create ruts that cause difficulty running a chicken tractor across, mowing across later on in the year when it's time to mow, and that kind of thing. So the weight of the tractor can actually be a disadvantage. Another disadvantage of a tractor over a side-by-side, if you're comparing like things in terms of year model, a tractor is probably going to be much more expensive than a side-by-side. So keeping that in mind, cost may be a prohibitive factor on managing a tractor. Replacement parts, equipment, service, that kind of thing also can be a little bit of a disadvantage if you're looking at it just from a pure dollars and cents standpoint. But overall, the tractor, super versatile, heavy, good to pull with. Of course, the weight can be a little bit of a disadvantage, good to pull with. Lots of different tools and implements and things that you can add to the tractor to do different things with. We bought this tractor in 2018, so we've had it a little over 3 years. Right now, it has 413 hours on it. So over the course of 3 years, we've put about 413 hours on the tractor. So let's talk a little bit about the side-by-side. So let's talk about the side-by-side for just a minute. The side-by-side is what we consider around here, it's our rolling toolbox. Anytime we're going out to do any kind of fencing project, construction project, daily chores, feeding, whatever, this is the tool that we take. The nice thing about the side-by-side is we've got a bed on this. So again, if we're going out to do a fencing project, we can load our fence post, our post driver, post pounder, our fencing box, reels of wire, whatever the case may be. We can toss it back here in the bed of the side-by-side and just go on. That's true if we're going out to do, we're going out to work on a construction project. We can throw saws and drills and hammers and all that kind of stuff back here in the back, and it's really, really easy to just load up and go. Compared to the tractor just doesn't have a lot of storage and carrying capacity unless we either put the bucket on the front or we put one of the carry-alls. We've got a carry-all that goes on the back. We put a carry-all back there to take all that stuff with us. So the side-by-side is really, really versatile in terms of being able to take a lot of materials and supplies and equipment and tools and that kind of thing with you. It's also got a frunk, part front end, part trunk up front, so we can get additional stuff in there. And there's some things that they always stay in there that we're going to always need. So that's really nice. The side-by-side also is 4-wheel drive, but it's quite a bit lighter than the tractor is. So in the wintertime, whenever the ground's really, really soft and muddy and we don't want to take the tractor out and rut up the ground, the side-by-side is nice in that it is much less impactful on the ground. We don't rut the ground up nearly as bad as we do, but it's still 4-wheel drive. So if it's muddy or slick or something like that, we can get around in the side-by-side really, really easy. The side-by-side is also our primary means of transportation around here. We farm on 32 acres, we own 20, we lease 12. And it's a long way from up at the house all the way back to the back of the property where we've got some pigs. So it's easy to just jump in the side-by-side, run down there and check on the animals, jump in the side-by-side, run down to the freezer, run down to the shop to get a tool, whatever the case may be. The side-by-side it's nimble, it's quick, and again, it's our primary means of transportation. Limitations on the side-by-side. It does what it does very well, carries things and people, but that's really about it. There are no additional attachments that you can get for this. You can't get a grapple for the front or box blade for the back or anything like that. So you're limited on the different things that you can do. While the side-by-side is quite a bit lighter, it also does not provide a good platform to tow with. I would not be at all comfortable jumping on the side-by-side and loading our stock trailer up, even if it were empty, hitching the stock trailer up to this thing and taking off across the pasture, particularly trying to go downhill. I'm afraid that stock trailer would start to push you just because this thing is so lightweight. So those are a couple of disadvantages. Lightweight, just doesn't do a whole lot of extra things outside of carrying people and tools and that sort of thing. Fairly cheap to operate. We do use the non-E gas, which around here in lots of places it's more expensive than the premium gas. But outside of that, you know, the regular maintenance on this thing, there's just, you know, it's pretty cheap to operate. We've had the side-by-side for a little over 2 years. It has 438 hours compared to the tractor that we've had for 3 years that has 413 hours. So we've had the side-by-side a year less, but it's got even more hours and more time on it than the tractor does. So to say that this is our tool of choice when it comes to getting out and operating on the farm, yeah, this is our go-to. So which one would I recommend for you to start with on your farm? And it depends. It depends on what you want to achieve. If you have a property that needs a lot of work done, you've got areas that need to be cleared, trees that need to be cut, ground that needs to be you know, excavated or dug or something like that, then the tractor may be the right tool for you with something like a grapple on the front, a box blade on the back, and a mower. So if you've got that land that needs to be cleared, or you've got a lot of big projects, a lot of heavy stuff that you've got to move, the tractor may be the right choice for you. Where we find the tractor to be most beneficial for us is in the movement and handling of materials. Pallets of feed, gravel, dirt, wood chips, and just managing bulky materials. That's where we find the tractor to be the most advantageous to us. If you have a fairly established piece of property that doesn't need a lot of property maintenance or a lot of rehabilitation or a lot of cleaning, and you just need something where you can move about the property quickly, carry tools, materials, and supplies and that kind of thing with you, then certainly a side-by-side may be the better choice for you. And you know, it doesn't have to be a side-by-side like what we have. I've seen folks that have made great use out of things like golf carts, ATVs, like four-wheelers and that kind of thing. So there are a lot of options out there, and you really just have to look at your farm, look at your homestead and your property, and decide, what are my goals, what am I trying to accomplish, what do I need to achieve, so that you can make a good decision for the tools and the equipment that you're going to need to get that work done. So that's my opinion. It just depends. So hope you make a good choice for your farm. I'm going to post a link to a couple of videos over here, some other stuff we got going on. If you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Follow along with us. We appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you on the next